It's Sal. I'm coming to you live for the second time. For some reason, I couldn't see your comments last time, so I have just had to come back and do this again. My apologies for those that joined me the first time. Yes, the comment box is up now, so if you are joining me live, please pop it in there and just let me know who you are and where you're from and joining me, and apologies that you're going to have to sit through that beginning intro again. Tremendous irony that I'm going to be today talking about retrograde Mercury and its effect on our readings and how to manage it without freaking out. And I have a retrograde Mercury technical thing. Even though it's finished, sometimes retrograde Mercury can take a week afterwards for these things to happen. Hello, Carl. Thank you for coming back. So I've got lots and lots of exciting content to cover today. I'm very excited because I've got some topics I haven't covered before, and just things also that people have asked in the group and on the Q&A board. So I'm going to be talking about some grounding techniques. I'm going to be talking about boundaries and how you need to make sure that you've got your boundaries in place, and just giving you some funny little examples of boundaries, and also some of the detrimental things that can happen if you're not keeping your boundaries in place while you're giving readings, especially if you're going to be running a business. I'm also going to talk about how to get reviews. I'm going to talk a little bit more about reviews and the process of reviews in this group. I'm going to talk about the new exchange template that I have made in the group. I'm very excited about that. So those of you who are doing exchanges, just so you've got full communication about what is being exchanged when you are doing an exchange to build up a reading or a healing and get your confidence there. I'm going to also talk about how you can access my back catalogue of free psychic seminars that I do. And I'm going to talk a little bit about free stuff and money blocks, and how to make sure that you're not increasing your money blocks or blocking your abundance by constantly going for free stuff, and also how sometimes getting free stuff all the time can cost you more. I think that's everything I wanted to talk about. Yes. Thank you. So now, if you are watching this as the replay, so if it's on YouTube, if you've seen it as a replay, you're not joining me here live, just make sure you hit subscribe so that you don't miss when I do these each month, and that way you won't miss out. And it also gives you access to the full back catalogue. So I've been doing these for over 2 years now, these free psychic seminars, and I just want to make sure, because there's so much content in them all, if you just go into one of those old videos and click on like the description, it'll tell you all the topics I covered. So often people frequently ask questions in here, and I just want to make sure that I'm not repeating the content, so you can just go back and get that full access. So I'm just going to quickly say hello to everyone, and then I'm going to get started. Hello, Carl. Hello, Nang Yang. Hello, Andrew. How are you? One of my advanced tarot from my VIP program. It's lovely to see you here. Bob, hello. Hello. It's your first time you're here. Welcome, Carl, from Scranton, Pennsylvania. You probably get sick of hearing the office jokes, don't you? It really put it on the map, although I guess the president is now from there too, so it's being put on the map for 2 reasons. Hello, Lassie from Massachusetts. It's lovely to see you guys here, and thank you for coming back. Thank you, Anne from Toronto. It's so lovely to have you here live with me. So I'm going to get started, and if you have questions for me, if you could save them to the end, because the Facebook feed does go very fast and I can sometimes miss them. Hello, Anita. Hello, Sandra from sunny Seattle. It's not very sunny here today. Hello from Sedona, Arizona. Lucky you, Barbara. So now, before I quickly get started, I just want to thank Ash Kennedy, Hira, Shamal, and Andrea Madden, and Yash, I hope I'm saying this right, Yashoda Devadiga, for your lovely reviews in How to Be Psychic. It means so much to me that you've taken that time to review it. And if you haven't had a chance to review the course yet, or if you've just clicked the stars and never written a comment, if you could, that would be tremendously helpful, and it helps me to keep being able to create more courses for you, but also helps other students be able to see if this is the right course for them. So thank you for everyone who's ever reviewed me, and thank you for everyone who's taken that time. And even if you're just in the course, you don't have to have finished it. You can just pop a few things about what you're getting value out of it, and that really helps me a lot and helps other students. So thank you. So let's get started. We're going to start with the concept of retrograde Mercury. We've just been through a really, and I'm going to call it horrendous without being too judgmental of the planets, but it really was not the easiest of retrograde Mercuries for many people. There were eclipses, there was all sorts of stuff going on. and combining that with world events, it can be a little bit difficult. But however, and for those of you who don't know what retrograde Mercury is, it's something where the planet, so basically Mercury goes backwards in the planets, and it happens 3 times a year. And there is a lot of jokes and sometimes about it, but there's also can be a lot of fear, and I don't think it's helpful to be fearful of it. I just think it's helpful to be aware of it. And I know this particular one must have been a little bit harrowing, because even my husband, who doesn't always believe in things like this, got hammered by it and said, "Oh my God, like this this last month has been horrendous for communication, for travel plans not going through, for obstacles and roadblocks, and for often feeling like energetically that you're just stuck in the same place, and no matter what you do, you can't move forward." Now, the first thing I'll say is, besides, as I said, try not to go into fear and blame everything in your life on retrograde Mercury. Sometimes it helps just to be a bit conscious of it and to just go, okay, this is why this is stuck. Maybe it's not a good idea for me to start this new project right now, and maybe I can do it in the future, but just not now. So for me, for example, I have been talking about in my Tarot Card Success course for quite a while, and even a little bit in this group, I am in the process of doing a reversals tarot course. And it's going to be focused specifically just on reversals. Now, I have had so many roadblocks with this course, it's been unbelievable, like just construction, this and that going wrong, my husband getting stuck in lockdown for months and me not seeing him, and then him finally coming home when I started to record. And then this month, more things happened, and I started being like, what is going on? But what it did was it forced me to just pull back and concentrate on what I call my back end. And I think, and that besides being a rude word, it's actually the back end in your business are things that go on behind the scenes. So things like your website, or doing some analysis on your YouTube channel, or going into your Facebook business page and seeing if what you're posting is getting any reach, and deciding where to allocate time or how to improve it. So for me, or even like working in this Facebook group, to look at the Facebook group and go, okay, where am I spending too much time that I could be cutting that down and making the process easier for students so they don't have to come and find me to get these answers. So I was looking at that for the last month instead, and it was almost a huge miracle for me, because pulling back after I got through the rage and the annoyance and the frustration, pulling back actually made me see other ways that I can make experience better for students. So such as I mentioned, coming up with an exchange template. So that meant, instead of people constantly saying, oh, I don't know how to exchange, or people getting frustrated that they were giving exchanges in the group and not getting the same back. Like one person would complain that they'd given a half-hour reading and then someone else would pull 2 cards. I found a way to actually create something that would help eliminate that frustration for students, and eliminate that frustration for me, that I had to constantly mediate between 2 people about, you know, being a decent human being and basically giving what someone else back, what someone has given you. So it was a really great process for that. And funnily enough, my website, I've been working on it for 18 months. And actually 2 years ago when I went on a Bali retreat to fix it. And so I said, okay, I'm just going to overhaul my website. I can't do the reversals course. So I spent all this time streamlining, making things better and easier for people to find me. I did a whole lot of stuff, and I worked with my web designer. And within that process, while that happened, Udemy changed something, which has meant that me doing my tarot reversals course, I have to rethink how I'm going to do it now. And so it's actually been a blessing in disguise. So if you've been working on anything in the past month and you feel like you've been getting stuck, you've had roadblocks, things aren't moving forward, please don't give up on it. Just think about for next time, because now the retrograde's finishing. Next time when it happens in a retrograde Mercury, just go, okay, what else can I do instead? Like, what have I been putting off? So say, for example, you've been trying to get more reviews on your Facebook page, and you've been finding that people are really slow in getting them back to you. This is classic retrograde Mercury stuff. Or they try to put the review on Facebook and it gets like deleted, or they can't find it, or they haven't set it to public. And you're frustrated because you're spending all this time chasing them and you're feeling demoralized. If that's what's going on, then say, okay, well, what have I been meaning to do? Like maybe you've got a YouTube channel and you know you really should be doing a YouTube course on Udemy, just a quick course to show you how to polish things up, or you've been thinking you want to change your course banner, but you've just been putting it off because you've been focusing on something else. So go away and tidy up that back end, those things that you've been avoiding. And you'll find that you're not getting so frustrated with the roadblocks, but you're also actually doing what I think is the benefit of retrograde Mercury. You're kind of not just constantly starting new projects without fixing up the old stuff and finding that you're getting depleted because you feel like you're doing so much but you're not getting much results. So, and look, I talk about that a lot in the 3-month advanced tarot program and psychic business training program. I talk about how sometimes we need one thing to start working, whether it be social media or your website, or before you move on to another one. Like, you need to really, instead of doing 50 different things, like I'm going to do Instagram and I'm going to do Facebook and I'm going to do YouTube and I'm going to do SEO and Google and analytics and I'm going to do all this and then get nothing done. Like, focus on one strategy first and then move on to the next. But retrograde Mercury is really good for when that strategy stalls to go back to some of the other ones and tidy them up a bit. So that's my little recommendation for retrograde Mercury. If you're coming across one and you're trying to, and it doesn't have to be just if you're trying to run a psychic or healing business, anything. Like, if you're planning a trip and you're finding there's roadblocks, then A, just make sure you've checked all the details and terms and conditions. But B, think about, well, what else? Maybe I've been trying to fix something in my house or clean out my clutter, and do that and see if that shifts the energy a bit. So I hope that's helped anyone who struggles a bit with retrograde Mercury. And now someone asked in the group, a few people have asked actually, should I not do readings during retrograde Mercury? And this is a fantastic question, and I'm astonished that it's actually taken such a long time for me to get it, or if I've been asked for, I've totally forgotten it. But my answer is yes, because we have 3 retrograde Mercuries a year. So that would, in essence, if people say, like, I won't do readings, or I'm not going to get a reading or give myself a reading during retrograde Mercury, it means that for a quarter of the year there's no reading. So that's obviously not viable for your own personal guidance, but also for people that are making a living as readers. However, keep in mind, if you are a reader and you are giving readings, that I don't necessarily think that there's going to be mixed readings because it's retrograde Mercury, but I think it's fair warning to let your clients know that, yes, if you're going to be doing something and there's some cards that are showing up, even if the cards are looking good, just exercise a bit of extra caution in the period until the retrograde Mercury ends. Like, just exercise, especially if it's a new decision, like, should I quit my job or should I leave my marriage? Because these are big life-changing things, and you want to make sure you're not doing them in a time when the planets are going backwards. So that would be just my advice. Just, always caution people, and if it's yourself, just keep that in mind, that, okay, maybe just stick to small, big decisions with readings when it comes to this period, and just be a little bit cautious with that. So I hope that's helped understand the retrograde Mercury. Hello, Medell from Alberta, Florida. Now, so I hope that's, anyone who got any further questions about retrograde Mercuries and doing readings, pop them in here. And if that's resonated, just give it a big love heart and say, yes, I totally get that. Me too. Or, even share a funny retrograde Mercury story of your own. Because we don't want to be carrying the fear. We don't want to be, we can't live in a fear a quarter of the year because of the planets. It'll drive us all bananas. But if we can learn to manage it and just, as I said, try to avoid big new projects. And if you have to do it, if there's no other time but the retrograde Mercury period to start a new project, then just be extra cautious that you're getting all the information. In the tarot, I call that being the king and the queen of swords, like making sure all of your research is done, not rushing into things without really checking everything. The classic retrograde Mercury is always showing up to the airport and your flight's not until a week later. That's classic retrograde Mercury. So I hope that has helped everyone. Hello, Misty from South Louisiana. So I'm going to move on now to talking about the concept of, and I came out with this spontaneously the other day, and it also was sort of prompted by a review that I got in my past life therapy course. So I was going through my reviews and thanking people in my past life therapy course that I have on Udemy that helps people that want to be psychics and healers, like, shift any blocks they're having. Like, if they can't connect to their angels and guides, if they feel like they want to become a professional and they're scared, or if they just get fearful every time they read the tarot or oracle cards, or any blocks that come, I've got this course on Udemy about shifting it. And And I'm really passionate about past life therapy as a healing tool to help people, because I feel like it's such a huge block for people who want to be healers and who want to be readers. And my own self, I did a lot of past life therapy on myself when every time I tried to put my business out there, I'd come against a block. And it was really funny because one of the reviews that I read the other day, and again with reviews, I'll talk about reviews and taking things personal in a minute, but said, okay, great content, but, I could have got this for free on the internet. And I can remember, it's hard not to take that stuff personally. I had a bit of a moment and I went, And it must have been the week for it, because then I was scrolling through a Facebook thing and I saw someone else's tarot group, not my tarot group, say, where can I get free tarot courses? I don't want to pay for them. And again, I thought, Now, the first two things that came out of this, now the first thing for me is I very diplomatically and kindly said to the person who wrote that review, yes, you're right. You can probably find information about past life therapy, and maybe you can find a similar meditation than I do free on YouTube. But you're going to have to sit through hours of sifting through to find a teacher that resonates with you. You're also going to have no support. Like, you're not going to be able to get anyone to answer questions if you have struggles. And you also won't get PDFs that go with it. And also, if there's a technical problem, you won't get any help with that, like Udemy gives you. And also things like you won't get that structure. Like, you might have to search for hours and hours and hours and sit through lots of ads to get the structure that's in a course. And often courses on Udemy are available for under $10. And so I had this thing of like, well, yes, you're right. You probably could go and spend hours and hours and find what you're looking for. But your time is valuable, and, surely you'd rather have access to a teacher who it's their job to answer your questions. So I said that very politely. So that was one of my things that came up around looking for free stuff. Like, make sure if you're not out there looking for free stuff that you're not doing damage by wasting lots and lots of time. Like, I've seen that before. I know I recently had another student who was constantly asking me career questions in the tarot course. And the tarot course is a beginner's tarot course. It's 10 hours long. It's about tarot readings and getting the beginner level out. But sometimes you go into like life purpose readings and more serious and more advanced readings. And so I just kept saying, look, why don't you go and do this course, because it answers that exact question. And the person next month would come back and ask the same question. And I go, well, why don't you do, I said, that's covered in this course. It's not really covered in this course. And, and it went on and on and on for about 7 months. And then finally I just said, look, I really can't help you because this is like, there's like a 3 hours of lectures of this and this course and another 4 hours. Like, it's a 9-hour course, this other course. I can't really answer it in one message. And I remember thinking, again, I understand why people just want to get as much sort of value out of one course as possible, or maybe they don't feel like they have the time to go and do another course, and so they ask the teacher and hope they'll get a quick answer. But sometimes things take more answers, and sometimes you need more samples and you need more structure. And so don't do yourself a disfavour. Like, if you want to learn, and I'm not just saying because I teach this, if you don't want to learn from me, go on Udemy and find other teachers. But don't sort of I thought about that person. They spent hours and hours writing me and waiting for me to get back to them, only to be told the same thing again and again. And they could have just gone and spent $10 and had all the answers for them structured, plus more information. So be careful you're not costing yourself. The other thing, and that's the same with people in this group that are jumping in and just basically using the readers for free readings. Like, my advice to you, and the irony is people that do this are often people that want to be professional. So the person who wrote that who wrote that review about my course is someone who wants to be a professional psychic or healer, but they're saying, the message they're sending to the universe is, I could have found this for free on the internet. And the person who I saw in the tarot thing, again, not mine, it's someone else's tarot group, that said, how can I get a free course? They want to be a professional tarot reader. And yet they're saying to the universe, I don't think tarot teachers should be compensated, even though there are lots of people that do free tarot readings. So be careful about the message you're sending to the universe. If you are hunting constantly for free stuff, you may find that when you become a professional, you are only getting clients that want free stuff. And so don't do yourself that disservice. And also, in the technical world, I noticed someone did this in my Psychic Healing Hub group. That's my group for professionals. And I understand why they asked it, but because they thought maybe someone in this group can help me, they were like, oh, Google's changed their algorithm and my reviews have disappeared from Google. Can someone tell me how to fix it or what to do? And I just wrote, look, I think the best thing to do is spend $10 on a Udemy course, and then you'll learn how to do that yourself, and you'll get the updated information, because teachers tend to update that stuff whenever Google makes a change. Like, I don't know that stuff very well, so I couldn't give advice, and no one in the group really knew much about it. And so sometimes you can do yourself a bigger favor and save a lot of time and actually pay someone who's running a business, who's actually qualified or has enough experience to give you great advice, rather than 20 different people giving you tips and advice. And I did this recently with Instagram. So recently I joined Instagram. So it was just Sal Jade Tarot, if you're on Instagram, or I give like psychic tips and more tarot tips and my sunrises of where I live. And I could see that there was all this free stuff on YouTube about how to succeed on Instagram, and lots of people in Facebook giving away free opt-ins. And I looked at it and I went, I could do that. I could sign up to someone's 3 tips for Instagram and then get bombarded with 50 emails, and I could never get rid of that. Or I could just, try to hunt for it all myself. Or I could just go spend $10 on Udemy on do someone else's Instagram course who knows what they're talking about, and I don't have to sit through ads, and they'll tell me what I need to know, and if I get stuck I can ask them, and they will reply to me. And I did, and I got like nearly 600 followers in a few months. So those kind of strategies to me are going to do you a much bigger favor. And can I say, one of the big things with healers and readers out of any other group, and I've spoken about this before, is a lot of them have money blocks. A lot of them find it hard to get their businesses off the ground. And it's really interesting. Like, and some of it's about self-worth, and some of it's about like feeling like I don't deserve to be paid, and having those kind of stories. I talk about that a lot in my Manifesting Abundance for Healers and Psychics course that I did with Miriam Costilla, about how shifting money blocks can help you attract more clients when you are a reader, and like how to do that. But one of the other big reasons is because often readers and healers, and I'm not judging, I'm just but I find more than any other group that are trying to succeed in the entrepreneurial world will try to do things for free. And that sends that message. Like, if you want to study IT, for example, you don't go and look at as many, you don't spend hours and hours and hours looking for free stuff. You'll just go and enroll in a course, because you'll understand and recognize that there's a process that needs to be followed, and you'll need a teacher's help. It's the same with learning about how to run an online business, whether it be Google Analytics or whether it be learning how to do past life therapy. Like, try to invest in yourself and do that. And then what will happen is that you'll attract clients that won't just be looking for free stuff, because you're not constantly sending that message that, people who teach this or people who give readings don't deserve to be paid. So I hope that's made a bit of help. I know it's a bit of a strange rave to go on, but it is something that, especially if you're new to the online world and you're new to wanting to run a business, I'm hoping if I teach this now and you take it on board, that you won't waste your time, that you won't also, if you're not just hunting groups, because as I said, the funniest thing I find, whenever people complain to me that they feel like someone's in this group just using people for free readings and they're not giving feedback. So I hope you guys know that if someone doesn't give you feedback, then let me know. Reach out to team@saljade.com and we will follow that up. After 14 days, we'll tag them in the group. But people that I've ever followed up, and I found out that actually they're people that have asked questions about how do I succeed as a tarot reader, or how do I succeed in my healing career, and yet they're not willing to kind of give feedback, or they're just, they're basically sending something out into the world that energetically says, I don't want to have to pay, or I don't want to have to honour this feedback. So please honour your readers and honour your healers and support them. And that way you generate that positive attraction, so that when you become a reader and a healer, you're getting supported. Hello from Sequim, WA. That's not Western Australia, is it? That's Washington. I nearly said Western Australia. So I hope that's helped with understanding how to make sure that you searching for free stuff isn't costing you more, and getting clear and connected with that. So now I'm going to talk about boundaries. One of the biggest problems that readers and healers face is we tend to, this is the opposite to, free stuff, is we tend to overgive. We tend to overgive in our readings, we tend to overgive in our healings, and we tend to overgive in Facebook groups. I want to make sure that you are not overgiving, because what happens to people who overgive, and often we can tend to do this, is, and I had an experience with this recently, where someone was coming up with a thing that was going to make my job a lot more difficult and take me a lot more time, and was actually outside the boundaries of what I was offering as part of a Facebook bonus group. And I ended up spending about 7 hours trying to resolve it and da-da-da-da. And then what happened is all the people who had asked me questions on the Q&A board, I just had nothing left to give them. I was like, I'd already drained myself on this one person. And I realised, I went, I'm overgiving to something that doesn't need overgiving again. Just have the boundaries and say, no, this is the rules, this is how it is. Sorry, I know that it's not to your liking, but this is how the Facebook group works. And it was interesting, if I'd done that from the start, I would have ended up in a situation where I wouldn't have had to take more time off, and I could have gotten to those other people quicker. And you might find it with your own personal relationships. If you're giving readings and healings and overgiving, then you might find your own personal relationships start to suffer because you've got nothing left to give, like the people that are supporting you and loving you. Or if you're running a business and there's other people and other clients, that you've got nothing left to give them. So remember that, and this is what I always tell myself this, like, having boundaries is being your own best friend. It's being the best friend of those who support and love you, and it's being your own best friend so that you can continue to serve others. So it's easy to feel guilty when someone's pushing you for more and more than they've paid for in a reading. Like if they follow up, and there was a story in this one or Tarot Card Success recently, someone had given someone a reading and they'd paid for, and then a week later reached out and wanted a totally different question and expected that person to give them the free reading. And it was because they'd already paid for a reading. And the whole group was very supportive, and I said to them, look, that's a bit like going to a department store and buying a fridge and then getting home and discovering you need a washing machine and expecting the department store just to give you a washing machine. Like, two different things are two different things. Like, if it's a similar topic, usually you'll even need a follow-up reading. The only time you should really be giving more information to someone of a psychic nature, when they've already paid for a reading and say a week has passed, if they were unclear about something, not to start a whole new separate topic. So I just thought I'd share that with you and to not feel guilty about that, because yes, occasionally people will try to take more, but remember that sometimes that is your energy. That's your energy leaking that as well. And just being a little bit wise with that as well. So if anyone's got any questions, pop them in now, and I'm just gonna move on to the next topic. Oh, okay. So reviews. So I had mentioned this before, but I wanted to. Sorry, my hair's doing crazy stuff right now from the weather. I just wanted to mention in this particular group that yes, you are welcome to offer a reading in exchange for a review, but I am unable to mediate that. So this is completely at your own risk. And just keep in mind, I'm not actually a big fan of this. I don't think it's a great way to get reviews. I think the best way to get a review is, yes, you can offer a free reading for feedback and then maybe say, hey, thanks for that. Do you mind giving me a review? But I would not ever be in a situation with my readings or with a service where I have to force people to give reviews, because I don't think it's smart or wise, and I think you could end up with a negative review, or they could ghost you. And you might say, but Sal, they agreed. And I'm like, yes, but people don't always know what it is they're agreeing to. And also, getting reviews for readings sometimes doesn't make sense. It's a little bit like me saying to you, hey, here's my new Udemy course. I'm going to give it to you for free, but you have to go and review it. And you might get halfway through the course and I get back to you and say, hey, why haven't you reviewed my course? You told me you'd review it. And you're like, well, I haven't finished the course. Now, a reading is exactly like that, because often in readings we've got like what's going to unfold in the future. Nobody can give you that feedback if it's like 4 months away or 6 months away or a year away. Also, what if that Udemy course didn't resonate with that person? What if they're like, oh, it's not really what I was looking for, but I feel bad because I said I'd review it. Do I give a bad review, or do I say it wasn't really what I was looking for? I can't really give it 5 stars. So keep that in mind. Like, for me, I would wait. If you want to build up your reviews on Facebook or on your testimonials on your webpage, I would wait until you get some positive feedback from someone and then thank them and say, would you mind giving me a review, and give them the link. Just say, here's the link. Don't follow them up. Don't stalk them. Don't harass them. Just give them the link. And then if they say no, they say no. But that to me is a much better way than saying, I will give you a reading in exchange for a review. So I'm hoping that makes sense. I know it's a bit confusing. The good news about this happening for me recently is I am going to create a new template for people doing the reviews as well in a new video that I'm going to add as well to make that process a bit easier. So thank you, Retrograde Mercury. You've given me some more insights about what to do to improve the group. So I hope that's helped everyone. I think that's, grounding techniques. Now, more than ever during this particular retrograde Mercury time, it's now finished, I know, but in your readings, you do need to make sure you're grounding. Like, consider grounding as much of your job as buying a packet of oracle cards. Now, there's lots of techniques that you can use from this course. It's under the tools thing. I also have another course for those of you who want to be a professional reader. I do recommend it. It's called Master Health Readings. It deals with health and fertility readings, but also it deals with psychic wellness. So how to sustain yourself long-term and short-term if you're giving a lot of psychic readings. I do recommend looking at that because it's not just a matter of occasionally grabbing a crystal. If you're working with lots of people's energy and you're doing it a lot, whether as a healer or a reader, you're going to hit walls sometimes and you're going to get ungrounded. When the planetary things are changing, or when we've got world energy changing like now with COVID, you're going to find that it's going to be even more of an upheaval. So do check out that course if you want to know more about psychic wellness and protecting yourself. I've got hours and hours upon techniques, but I'll share a couple with you today. My favorite one is a really easy one. It's kicking off your shoes, going outside and stomping on the grass 5 times. That one never fails to sort of bring me down to earth a bit more. Clapping in front of my third eye 3 times helps as well. And my old favorite, I thought I had it here, but I don't. What helped me during this period was my black tourmaline. I was just like fierce with it, like a magic genie with my black tourmaline. And that just helped unground, like all that I was so ungrounded, sorry, because I've been spending a lot of time dealing with this Facebook issue, and it just helped bring me back to my center. So black tourmaline yourself, little stone, big stone, just hold it for that one. You don't have to necessarily do any kind of big rituals with it. Keep it simple and just hold it with you. Hello Candice, how are you, sweetie? Hello Jennifer from Canada. So I hope that's helped with your grounding techniques and learning how to ground. Now, this is the latest deck that I am a little bit in love with that's really helped me through this period of time, and it's called Whispers of Healing, and it is by, and I've only been using it recently, so I don't even remember the name of the person. There we go, Angela Hartfield. And I just want to share with you why I love this deck. It's not a deck that is particularly fantastic for doing let's get lots of information readings like that. It's not the best deck for that, but it's a really good deck for looking at your blocks and going, why am I hurting, or how can I fix this? Like, so even this first card here, it says grateful. So it's like, okay, I need to step out and be grateful. I'm just going to randomly pick another one. Oh, compassion. Okay. So whatever's going on, can you see that? Yes. That you just go, okay, I need to step back and have compassion. Now, one thing about oracle card readings and compassion card, people often think it means you need to have compassion for the person who you're having a conflict with or for the situation. Often it means you need to have compassion for yourself. There is nothing more powerful and healing than having kindness and compassion for yourself. So it can also mean I love this. There we go. Compassion. Let me pull another one for us all. Oh, intention. I love this. So again, you don't even have to read the book for this one. It's more just about, okay, what are my intentions? Like, so say, for example, the Tarot Reversal course. My intentions were to get as many people as possible to be able to learn how to do reversals in the way that I do them, to help them, but also to build my business. So, okay, 3 goals. Okay, instead of getting like so caught up in the roadblocks, focus on those as my big intentions and then just let other ideas come in. So these are some ones. Oh, I love this one. I have to say this. Respect. So respect, and again, respect can often be respect for yourself. So having respect for yourself, again, going back to that boundaries. So these cards are fantastic They're just called the Whispers of Healing if you're looking for your own self journey. Like if you're finding a lot of blocks, like sometimes it just takes something a little bit gentle and trying that. I always laugh at my kinesiologist, Claire Tate. She says to me, she gets clients and even myself when I see her, sometimes it's just very simple things that can shift things. Sometimes we don't need to go into a whole huge past life thing. We don't need to go and spend hundreds of dollars on a healer. We don't need to do hours of journaling and shifting. Sometimes it's just one little tiny thing like that. Like, okay, my message today is respect. I'm going to just respect myself. So I hope that has helped, my loves. My new latest deck that I have been finding has been helping a lot with my own personal healing journey. Now, hello Candice, and hello Rena from Southeast Asia. Thank you all for joining me. If you have any questions, please pop them in here. Now, if you're joining me on the replay, it does take me a bit longer to get to those YouTube questions. Sorry about that. And if you want me to get quicker, then go onto your Udemy courses because that's always the quickest way to find me is through the Udemy thing. So it just takes a bit longer. Otherwise, just reach out to team@saljade.com. I've also got a new address that I'm directing people to. If you don't know, because I've got 5 different things I help people with. Like I've got Udemy courses. I've got people that are like my former clients that I've done healings and readings for, or people that want to know about getting readings and healings from me. I've got my advanced tarot program and my psychic healing training on the Psychic Healing Academy. I've got Facebook groups. So because there's all different things that I help people with to basically prevent me giving you what will feel like the runaround when you try to reach out to me, I do have on my website, saljade.com, if you click on contact, I've got the 5 different ways you can contact me. That just fast tracks it for me because I get like hundreds of messages and emails or questions each week. It just means I can know how to help you without writing back to you and saying, hi, I don't know, are you coming to me for my Udemy course? Have you done this already? Are you just wanting to know about my VIP program? So that kind of thing. So if you ever need to contact me and you're like, I'm getting the runaround from Sal, I don't know how to quickly just go to my saljade.com and click on contact, and that's the quickest way. Richard, how do you open up your hearing better when you're doing readings? Okay, so I've got loads and loads of exercises for this in the Psychic Readings Intermediate level, Richard, that follows this course, How to Be Psychic. So if you're really keen on your clairaudience and you want to go much deeper, I do recommend that. I've got like dozens of exercises and I've even got like an assignment, but I'll give you a few tips now. So one of the things I do to open up my hearing is I close my eyes, and I try to do this a couple of times a day, and I just tune in to the noises that are around me. Now, you might have tried this in a meditation before, and I just try to acknowledge like, oh, okay, that's a car. Okay, that's my husband's YouTube in the spare room. That's a neighbour downstairs. That's someone banging a door. And I just separate out sounds out, and I find doing that actually just opens up my ear chakra. You can also ask your angels to clear out your ear chakras. So clear out from, especially like if you watch news or you've been listening to things that are a bit negative, then clearing out your ear chakras will help that as well. So there are 2 little beginner steps that I suggest is tuning into noises around you throughout the day, just checking in for a couple of minutes just to tune into that hearing gift. And the second one is just to ask your angels to clear, or your guides to clear out your ear chakras, to just release that, and that way you'll get more messages coming through. And then if you want to go to the next level, like Psychic Readings Intermediate level on Udemy, that goes, and you can find out about that in your final lectures if you want to go in and get the discounted coupon if there's no sales running. And that will help you it has, I think it's like 10 or something exercises that you can do, and you can find the one that works best and concentrate on elevating to that. And it's got an assignment that you can do as well to improve it. I hope that helps, Richard, but try those first ones. Christina, sorry, I missed your thing, honey. I have been pulling the same 3 cards over and over. What is that? It just means pay attention to the cards, stop doing any other readings, and pay attention to those 3 cards. So people often ask me this, particularly in the Tarot Card Success course. I get asked this a lot. Hey, I did a reading and then a week later I did it, but I got different cards. What does this mean? It means pay attention to the first reading. And the same applies for this particular thing, Christine. Like, just say, okay, for the next couple of months, I just need to deal with this lesson. So if you are constantly getting the lessons that I spoke about before, compassion, respect, and gratitude, then your guides and angels just want you to focus on that for now, nothing else. So just follow that until that shifts into new energy. That's how I would deal with that. It's just extra confirmation. Now, the deck I've showed is good for beginners, but you will need to read the guidebook a little bit because it goes deeper. Now, one little tip I've got for you with reading the guidebook is what I do with my guidebooks is I just get a highlighter and highlight extra bits that mean something to me. So do your own personal reading. However, I would not start doing this straight away with clients because clients often want more specific stuff. This is the kind of thing, it can help if it's a healing client, by the way, sorry, that's the exemption. Say you're doing you're working with a Reiki client or a client that's doing some kind of energetic healing and you just wanted to pull one card for them or two cards for them at the end. You could say that's their lessons, but if you're doing a psychic type reading where you want a lot of information, these are a little bit more limited unless you've got a lot of time to study them and practice them yourself. So good for beginners if you've got more time to study and practice, good for your personal healing journey as a beginner, and good for healers, but probably not if you're doing a reading where you're practicing with someone and you're not that confident with oracle cards yet. I'd probably avoid it for that because they are a little bit more complex if people want more information. People can get a bit frustrated if they're asking a question like, should I get a new job? And you pull a card like compassion, that can not give them enough about what's going to happen in the job. Now, I hope that's helped, Mardell. Misty, what is the best course to take to be able to connect with my loved ones? I can connect with everyone else's, but when it comes to my guides and spirits, I can't connect. Are you talking about deceased loved ones? Is that what you mean, Misty? If you could clarify that, I can help you further. Let's see. Why when I try to do readings on people, I don't know either their family... Okay, why when I try to do readings on people you don't know, other than family, it doesn't connect? So let's see, it might be that you've got a block. It's interesting and it's actually very encouraging that at least you know you can connect with family. So it could be, and in most of the cases when this happens to people, the first thing to remember is we're all individuals, we're all unique, and we've all got our own little kind of metaphysical blocks that are going on behind the scene when we're trying to connect with our guides and angels. So it could be that you've had a past life, and in that past life you did readings publicly for others, so strangers, so people came in and did it instead of maybe the local villagers that knew you. You went out on the road and did it for other people, and maybe people threw stones at you, or maybe people locked you up and put you in jail, or maybe you saw something and connected and something bad happened and you were punished for it. So if you think maybe it could be a past life thing, I highly recommend my past life course on Udemy. It has helped thousands of my students and my clients when I've done it with them shift this fear of connecting, and getting it wrong. Now, if it's more that you're worried about getting it wrong, like say you feel like this person's going to judge me more than like a fear that you can't explain, then the Boost Your Psychic Gifts with EFT tapping is probably a better course for you, because that course I give you particular tapping rituals about clearing this fear of being wrong, because it's very natural that you fear you're being wrong, but sometimes that can block you from getting a really great intuitive connected reading. So think about those two options. Some people end up doing both courses, but some people only need to do one or the other. Or you could go away and work with a healer. But please don't just, again, be kind and compassionate to yourself. Like, I had a lot of blocks when I got started like this, and I just had to work through some of these processes like I teach in this course, and that way I was able to shift them. So just look at doing that as well. And don't worry, there's nothing wrong with you. It's just that's your little soul lesson to learn on this planet. Misty, yes, you said... for people that are deceased. Oh, sorry. I've lost myself there. So, as I mentioned in How to Be Psychic, I'm working with people that are deceased is a very minor ability of mine. It's not something that comes through all the time, which is why I've never advertised my services as being a psychic medium that connects with people who are deceased. Because for me, they just kind of accidentally come in sometimes. They don't always come in. And also, it's not an area that I am hugely comfortable with. So for me, the person I love, there's two people I love. I love Alison Mauer. She's a long-time student who has done this course. I also love Denise Litchfield. There's an interview on my YouTube channel. if you go to my YouTube channel, you'll see an interview with me, and it's called Transformations from the Other Side. And it's an interview I did with Denise Litchfield, and you can find all her details there. Anything she is teaching, I can highly recommend. She's a fantastic teacher. She's very no fluff, and she's been doing this a very long time. And so she goes out, and she's one of these people who does it a lot in public. Like, she'll go to spiritual churches and she'll get out there and she'll read people in the audience. So I highly recommend watching that interview, because she can give you lots more information about what she does. But you can also go and check her out on Facebook or on Google. So Denise Litchfield, yeah, she's fabulous. And Alison Mauer, I also love her as well. So I hope that's helped, my love. So I hope that's helped, Misty. I hope that answered the questions about deceased loved ones. So you can't connect with any of your loved ones, yeah. So I would look at maybe doing something with Denise Litchfield, or if you think that's outside of my budget, because she's not on Udemy, maybe go back into Udemy and have a look and see who's got the best reviews. Because, as I said, it's not something I learned myself separately years ago through Doreen Virtue. I did one of her live seminars. We all know how ironic that is, because she doesn't teach that anymore, but I learned from her personally. And she actually, I actually did a reading on someone in front of her, and she gave me feedback. But yeah, so I haven't learnt from anyone else but her, and that was a very long time ago. And my skills are very minor in this department. But Alison Mauer, you can find her on Facebook, or you can she's under Ali Mauer too, I think, Mauer. And Denise Litchfield would be my biggest recommendations. Cool, thanks. Now, has anyone else got any other further questions? Anything around the course? Anything around that you're having problems with? Let me know now. I'll be here for another couple of minutes. Sometimes the Facebook feed's a bit slow coming up. I just want to see I haven't missed anyone. Nope. Okay, so just recapping. That, the exchange template is now available. It will be posted every week. Kathy's going to be posting that for you. So if you're doing exchanges in the group, you might want to download it and have a little look, and then just see about what you can, just giving you ideas about how to communicate with people when you're giving exchanges, to make sure everyone gets the most out of it. Make sure that you're not doing yourself a disservice and sending a message to the universe that readers and healers and teachers don't deserve to be paid. Really be careful. If you're someone out there always looking for free stuff, sometimes it can actually block your abundance. Sometimes it can set you backwards. If you feel like you've got money blocks, if you feel like you're not attracting enough people to your business and you're trying to get yourself out there, I have a course that I did with the wealth coach Miriam Castilla on Udemy about manifesting abundance for healers and psychics. It's a great course to do to shift your healing, your blocks that are stopping you from healing around money, if you're experiencing a bit of poverty consciousness, or even if you're attracting a lot of people that just want free stuff. The deck is called, Bob, Whispers of Healing by Angela Hartfield. She does another one, I think, called Oceans of Healing. Oceans. But this is the one I love, that I have, that I'm just besotted with right now. What else? Oh, please be your own best friend with your boundaries. Try not to give away the farm. So that's the opposite to the people that are all trying to get the free stuff and not giving back feedback, or just getting the free stuff to try to start a business or try to get psychic advice. The opposite is giving too much. Know that you might feel guilty that you're not saying yes to everything, but what you're doing when you say yes to everything to one person, then you're going to have to end up saying no to more people, because you've got no energy left. And that includes the people that love and support you, or that could include your children. So just keep that in mind. It can be more damaging to say yes sometimes than to say no. And I think, grounding techniques, just going in and do a bit black tourmaline. And if you want to go further, I do have a course for that. And as always, if you need to contact me, reach out to team@saljade.com. Just go to my website and click on contact. Or just if it's a Udemy related question, then just go on to the Q&A board and post it there. So thank you everyone for coming. It's so wonderful to see you all here. I will be posting this now. I'll be doing this as the replay. If you've missed some of this, you can either watch it in Hey Boo. That's funny. Boo's the name of my little that little girl from Monsters Inc. I have her as my little thing on Disney. Von, why are all the haters on me? Okay, if you're someone who feels like you're attracting haters, like you mean like people who are trolling you, I would look at working with a healer on that. Again, it depends on what you're doing. Like, are you talking about, can I ask that question, Von? Are you asking from the perspective of just generally, or are you offering readings or healings or something on a public scale? If you answer me that, I can help answer question better. Because that's two different things. If it's just generally, like if you're not trying to be a professional healer and you're attracting a lot of haters, you might just have something going on with your energy. You might need to work with a healer and just get some of that energy off. Or again, I always talk about the past life thing. It might be that in a past life you're playing out stories. It might be that there's some feelings of self-worth that come from your childhood and your parents. So there can be many different reasons. So I would look at, okay, is it because what energetic vibe am I sending out there? Okay, so all these girls. So when you see them, now is this to do with your personal life or is this your professional life, may I ask? I'll wait a couple of seconds. So keep in mind, Von, I'm not giving you a psychic answer here. I'm helping you with content. I'm just saying energetically what you might be looking out for and looking at that. So if I had to just give that off the top of my thing, personal. So personally, it could just be, the most common reason we have issues with the opposite sex is that it comes from our mother stuff. And for a woman, it comes from her father's stuff. Most common stuff I would look at is to look at whether or not you have issues with your mother or father. That's the first point of call. Before even going past life, I would go back to your childhood, the relationship between your mother and father, the relationship between you and your mother and father. I would do a bit of journaling on that because that's usually the most common call. And Lacey's asked a question. So yeah, I would look at that. And if you're not finding any answers there, you might need to look at working with a healer. Maybe ask your oracle cards. If you've got some oracle cards, ask them and see what they say. So I'd start by looking at that, definitely. Lacey. So when I'm working with my clients, that's the first thing I go to. I go right back to, let's talk about mum and dad. If you're a woman, I go, let's talk about dad. If you're a man, I go, let's talk about mum. Although sometimes the genders can cross over as well. Sorry, Lacey, I'm just trying to find your question, my love. I can't see a Lacey. Lacey is the name of one of my dear friends, so I always smile when I see that. Lacey. Lacey, if you're still here, can you post your question again? It seems to have disappeared. Nope. I can't see a Lacey. Is it definitely... Oh, L-A-C. I was looking for Lacey, L-A-C-E-Y, which is how my friend... Okay. So I answered Lacey's question. No, I answered Lacey's question, sweetie. All good. I answered that about mediumship. All good. Okay, so anyone else got any questions, just pop them here. I will pop back in later. I'm off tomorrow, but I'll be back in on Sunday. So if you ask me a question here and you're thinking, why should it take me so long? It's because I'm going to be back on Sunday. And thank you so much, everyone, for joining me. It has been such a pleasure to see you. And as I said, if you want to get access to the back catalogues, so all of the psychic seminars that I've done over the past 2 years, you can do that by hitting subscribe to YouTube or going into YouTube and you'll find them all there. Thank you so much. Oh, share the name of the Oracle deck. Yes, Whispers of Healing. There it is. So it's just called Whispers of Healing. I've been doing this for years, this backward filming stuff, and I still make this mistake. Whispers of Healing by Angela Hartfield. Oh, I just want to add something very quickly. Someone popped something before earlier. Can I say, when you are buying Oracle card decks, please don't buy them on Etsy, because I've heard so many stories of counterfeit decks on Etsy, and they often won't come with the guidebook. Anything that doesn't come with the guidebook is not a legitimate deck. It's something that someone has stolen, or they've cut up their own little cards and mimicked it. All books should come with a guidebook, otherwise they are counterfeit. The best source that I know is called Book Depository. and they will deliver. They seem to deliver to most countries. Just go into bookdepository.com and it'll take you to your country. Or if you just say book depository in Google, and then if you live in India, put India. If you live in Brazil, put Brazil. They deal with only retail sellers. So they're all people that are legitimate. So that's my biggest advice, because even Amazon can have scammers on it. So I hope that's helped. Just go to Book Depository now. Go there and get it there. Okay, thank you everyone so much for joining me. And if you're watching the replay, just put #replay, and I will see you again soon. Thank you.